Alright, so when we left off we were up to this point, and we're going to start moving on to the next part of this project. We need to finish detailing out this section and build the swing arm segment up the top here. So let's get started. Like everything, the detailing work and like you do on these is completely up to you. I can also see that it appears we have some mesh issues happening, and we need to address those before we get too much further. I actually didn't notice them before, so we're going to address those and stop them from becoming a bigger problem. So let's address those first. Got them happening in a couple of places here. I've got one here. This one was actually caused by me moving a point in the last tutorial. But I only moved one of them. Will actually likely be the cause of a problem here as well, but we can't be 100% certain just yet. We need to actually move over to this side where we can work a little better. Try and see what's going on here. So it really looks like we've got some severe mesh errors happening that I didn't catch on to before in the previous tutorial, and we need to fix these. We need to fix them now before they get any worse. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to fix them on one side and then we'll mirror across to the other side. So to do, let's set this up so that we can do that. It's a lot easier to work like this than when you've got a mirror than to have to fix all the sides at once. And the best thing about this particular one is, like I said, we've got a four-way mirror happening, so We can even get rid of this back section here and just fix this mid section. And I will run a knife down there. So now let's get in and start fixing these problems. We'll start here and work our way around. Now the problem here is that the polygon shifted when we did our bevel. As we can see here, the bottom one's fine, so we don't want that selected, but the top one's not. So we can fix that one fairly quick and easy. Same things happen down here. The bevel's gone in the wrong direction. And that'll be the majority of the problems here. It's just that the bevels have gone in the wrong direction because I did them all together. We do have the problem, and I think we'll find this one's it is planular. It's always good to know. This lower one's fine, apparently, because we actually forgot to do a proper bevel all around the edge. At least until we have a look up the top here, where we can see we have a problem just here. So we need to try and work out what's caused it. I was looking at the geometry. And here we can see that this isn't even welded. Which is what's caused the problem. There was a underlying mesh issue, which is because of the way I had the geometry. I'm going to find like a cat talking vocally in the background there. Part of this is, yeah, just some errors on my fault. Better to show you them and how I fixed them than to hide the fact. And even the best of us mess up. I've talked to guys who I look up to as modelers, and they'll sit there and tell you of times where they've done nice, simple, well, what should be something nice and simple, not checked a polygon flow beforehand or something similar, only to find what should have been a nice, quick, simple trick. Close my Steam out so I don't have to put up with the likes of Callum there. These stupid names showing up. Basically adds to your workload as you fix things, but if we look here with a couple of quick little movements, and we've fixed all of them. So let's continue on. We need to build out this section, and my idea for this section, based on this, is just to put some heat sinks or something in there in a little bit. We'll be doing similar with where the join is here. So we'll be doing some similar work in here when we get round to it. So now we've got to, so instead we might as well just move on to this segment here. We can see we've got a block, an access panel, and then the swing arm mechanism inside that. And if I bring back up our backdrops, that ties in here where we can see something very similar. So we're going to start here. With this segment. Now, in my mind, this has got a little bit of a curve to it. Here it's shown rather sharp, but I actually don't like the way how sharp it is on this. I reckon it should have kind of a curve in it in both directions. So we might flip this back over to colour wireframe narrow this in a little bit, and we'll actually get rid of the hab module. For now, we want to, so like this, but now we're going to select this face and this face. We don't want the middle face, we want the end face. Just going to bring these out slightly. Move that one up. Let's set it down, and of course we'll round them out in a moment. Now we have another section that comes up here and here. And then this section has the central ring in it, and our arm comes off it, but we want to round out some of these edges first. So we're going to grab these three edges to begin with. Then we're going to grab this edge here. Finally, for these edges, well, the vertical edges, we'll grab this inner set. I don't want to add as big of a bevel on this set. Now, we're going to check before we move on for any errors, but that doesn't look like we've got any. We want to select all of this one, all of this one, all of this one, and all of this one. All of this one, all of this one. So all of those, and we want to round them out a little bit. And finally, this segment though, knowing what we know about tries, we may end up having to come in here and do some fixing. Though by the looks of it, it's playing nice. So that gives us this segment. We need to put in the little hatchway door just here, and I want a curve on the bottom of this. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to run a bandsaw down the middle here. Actually, yeah, we'll just use a bandsaw. So, bandsaw Pro, clear, and if we have a look, we get it dead center. Now we grab our edge tool again. Grab that lower segment. I'm going to split it. Well, notice we're not actually getting a change in the curve. It's because it was a fairly straight edge without any. But if we shift very slightly here, and then we do it again, we've got that curve that I was after. So now, just quickly make the plate that we want for here, which we can clearly see on this. We've got an access panel. Looking at this, it's got a really typical style, sci-fi axis panels. If you squared off edges, and we're going to just stencil drill this one through. And we'll get it on both sides. Save, modify. What do we have? So I don't have my multi-shift in here yet. And speaking of that, we might quickly have a look at, if we go to our edit menu items, we get a whole bunch of menu options, and we can see here left mouse button menu, right mouse button menu, middle mouse button menu. What I'm going to find in here is multi-shift. I'm going to put it right there. Done. You'll see when I hit N now, we're actually on a multi-shift, so I don't have to go to here all the time. 5mm, negative 5mm, so we're moving it in and slightly insetting it. Now I'm going to bring it down negative 50 centimeters. Probably in a little bit too far actually. We'll just take it 5 centimeters, which is 50mm. Insert and bring it in 10mm. Insert, then bring this back out to sit at negative 2mm, so it's going to be slightly different to the surface. Insert 15mm and 5mm. Now it comes slightly above. That gives us our little side plate. Now we've got to do this centre pivot point, which is what this has actually got all the motors meant to have. It's meant to have both the way of getting down out of the habitat arm. Well, things are working, so if we put a human in on this, looking at the grid size, the grid's a metre by a metre, so if we bring your average human in, you're looking at probably a metre wide by, we'll say 2 metres high. It's boxy, but it's roughly right in a metre depth. So this is your average human. It has to be able to basically come in, move down the central pivot of arm, but also be able to get down this because it's an axis way tunnel that runs down all of this section. It's a good thing to keep your scale in mind when working on this stuff. So anyway, we know we've got a pivot point, we know it goes through and the like, so we need to build the collar for it. We want create disk. This gives us the disk we'll be using. The thing here is we basically have to decide which view we're going to use to center it here. It's slightly off no matter which one we use. So at the moment that disk's got a radius of 5 meters total, which to me is fine. Our human can definitely fit in it. So we want that one, and I want that, but slightly larger as well. On here, on this arm, we want to stencil it with the larger one. And we'll do the smaller one in a moment, because what we want to do is kind of make this central colour region. We're gonna definitely have this, bring it in. Basically something like this. Now we're going to make some, don't have any edges not selected. Should be able to, sometimes it annoys me. Should be able to get a loop here, an edge loop here, but for some reason it's not. Because we're doing a select loop and nothing's happening. Except for now, obviously, it thinking that I've got my mouse down constantly. Now there is the chance that this is going to break. As we can see here. And like I said, was purely expecting it to. What we need to do is ideally this, but I really don't want to do this. But we'll see if doing that works. No. We could, though. We'll have to triple it eventually, but I just don't want to do it now. I find it interesting that doing that cut played havoc with the edge loop. I'm just going to do this. And it won't let us do that edge loop, but you watch, we do this. And all of a sudden we can do it. Sometimes it just makes you want to shake your head. Now we're going to, just on this outer set, make it looks like a ring. Bring it up 101, 104, 103, 103. Tap the insert key to group these, and voila. Now of course this has to connect into that, and we've got what can clearly be seen, this bracket holding it, so we now need to do that, which is why we made this tube, or rather this one, which is the larger of the two, so we no longer need this one. We want this one. I'm going to bring it back into here, so this would sit inside here somewhere. I'll come out to about here, at which point gives us the collar. Which this segment will join onto. We just need to make certain that's fine. And then so it's going to come up like this. And this is why we don't just use this bevel all the time. That's why I do the selections and sometimes just the edges. Because it lets me have a little bit more control over some segments. Because obviously this hasn't come out how I really want it. at all. I want select that face there. Face there. If we grab this edge, grab this edge loop, I'm going to have to rebuild some polygons, but I'll do some moving, but it's just a little easier. Because we've got a missing polygon. So to make a polygon here, we're just selecting the vertices, tapping P, makes the polygon. Now we grab this set of, we actually no, we don't want to grab that set of edges yet. We want to delete that. Turn symmetry on, and we can see we've got some weirdness happening here. So we're going to do this using edges. Grab this edge here. And we've still got some weirdness happening. Why? It could have to do with this segment. So I'm betting if we do this top, we'll get the same weirdness happening here. Let's see what happens if we interesting. According to this, we don't have so we've got some weird stuff happening there. We had 6 polygons, which shouldn't be happening, so we're just going to select everything here for a moment. And we're going to make certain that we don't have any ununified polygons. So we're going to go here on the detail and unify polys. What that'll do is if 2 polys are overlapping and share the exact, all the same vertices, it'll get rid of them. So now, knowing we don't have those, we'll grab okay, that's because we've got symmetry on. I'll grab these edges. And we're going to actually put those edges back. Or at least some of them. Just to stop any rendering issues later. So that gives us that half. We want to delete there, grab this, mirror it, and the other thing we want to do is add the detail segment that we can see in the image in the center. In this case, I'm going to presume that it's bit where these straps will go straight through. So get rid of that, then redo, grab this front section, bridge there, bridge there, edge mode, we want that edge, that edge, that edge, that edge, those two, those two, looks like we've got everything selected. And there we go. So with that done, that looks good. So we want to mirror that. Now we're actually going to do a boolean. I'm going to do a boolean operation on a union. Now I'm going to merge, make certain that we have merged, and I'm going to check the edges. Sometimes when you do a boolean like that, you'll get some really ugly tears. So we have this segment, and finally on this we can see that it's currently the same size. We want to expand it out just slightly. Give it a small bit in. There we go. And we finally mirror that bit. This section can go on here. Like so. We can mirror this section down. I'll do some rearranging here and some renaming. So that section to there, that section there. This one is obviously our central ring, so we're just going to bring up our layers panel. It's called central ring. This is actually now our arms. We'll call this our rotor cuff. Its parent item will be arms, but we actually need rotor cuff one and hab module 1. This will be hab module 2. It's actually tied to the arms. What we want to do here is this one there, and we want to set our pivot on this layer to there, and our pivot on this layer to there. So, and we're going to save. So basically at this point we have this, which would be a basic type A hab module, and if we switch to layout, and send this to layout, change our camera to a VPR here very quickly, and we have a look. We've got the basics of our model, and the reason we did what we did is, if we have a look at our scene editor here, we've got the habitation ring. And everything's already parented up. If we rotate this, the arms move with us. The arms we don't want to actually mess with, but we can rotate these as required without any problems. And later we'll set these all up so that we've got a controller and everything. But that's part 3 of this tutorial done. This is the stage we're up to. For some people you could call this done and move on to the next section, but we're not done. We've got some more detailing to do. We want to add some piping in here. We need to do our little thrusters to get this section moving. And then of course materials and things like that, and we'll cover that. We'll start covering some more of that in section 4. Anyway, my name's Rob. I hope you enjoyed. See you in the next one.